Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox. I would like to welcome you to the Sunday Book Review. The Sunday Book Review is the series where I discuss books which impact the compliance practitioner, the legal professional, and the business professional. I hope you will enjoy this episode. The Sunday Book Review is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network. In this episode, we take a look at the top business books from the summer of 2023 as curated by Financial Times columnist Andrew Hill. First up, The 4 Workarounds, How the World's Scrappiest Organizations Tackle Complex Problems by Paulo, Savaget. A richly guided, illustrated book on how to work around the rules and norms to solve complex problems, yet staying within the bounds of ethics and compliance, with examples as diverse as cryptocurrencies and medicine distribution. The author outlines managerial and domestic benefits to a wider point about the advantages of adopting a worker mindset. Next up, How Big Things Get Done. The surprising factors behind every successful project, from home innovation to space exploration, by Bent Flyvbjerg and Dan Gardner. These are stories of gigantic and costly failures, from the Sydney Opera House to successful editions of the Olympic Games, all equally entertaining and chastising. But the authors managed to extract valuable lessons on how to plan, forecast, and execute any size of project, whether it's a kitchen remodeling or a high-speed train link. Next up, Risky Business, Why Insurance Markets Fail and What to Do About It, by a trio of authors, Amy Finkelstein, Liran, Einav, and Ray Fisman. With the focus on the United States, Risky Business tackles the knotty questions around insurance, such as the impact of genetic data on health insurance and how insurers help pick the right customers. The original review in the FT applauded the author's chassis breathing style, reminiscent of Freakonomics. So whenever you can get compared to Freakonomics, you know you're in good stead. Next up, the next book takes a bit of a more somber note and is entitled Wonder Boy, Tony Heish, Zappos, and the Myth of Happiness in Silicon Valley by Au-Yeung and David Jeans. This is a story of the extraordinary business success of Tony Heish, whose quest for happiness first turned footwear retailer Zappos into a commercial phenomenon, then aimed to regenerate downtown Las Vegas, even as his mental health disintegrated. In this cautionary tale, the authors unsparingly shed light on what went wrong. And finally, The Case for Good Jobs, How Great Companies Bring Dignity, Pay, and Meaning to Everyone's Work by Zeynep. The author from MIT has assembled hard-to-dispute arguments that the better and better paid jobs contribute to the virtuous circle of greater competitiveness, productivity, and, above all, worker dignity and well-being. In the latest book, she draws on examples from retails to fast food to reinforce her case that there is a profitable, sustainable alternative to low wages, inflexible contracts, and long hours. Into the Compliance Podcast Network, it's Two Gurus Talk Compliance, where, with my friend and colleague Christy Grant Hart, we take a look at some of the top compliance commentary around. It's a long-form, up to 1 hour podcast, but if you're interested in compliance, if you're interested in Christy Grant Hart and myself talking about compliance, this would be a great podcast for you to check in on. It premiered on March 10th on the Compliance Podcast Network. I know you'll enjoy this latest offering. Additionally, we have Data-Driven Compliance, which is a podcast where I look at the use of data in compliance programs. This is perhaps the most cutting-edge podcast I have going right now. And if you're interested in how data can be used, how to structure a data analytics program, what tools are available out there for you, and how compliance practitioners are using data, this is certainly the podcast for you. So check out Data-Driven Compliance, all on the Compliance Podcast Network. The Sunday Book Review is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.